Hello and welcome. You are watching Qfilmcompanionsouth. My name is Hriday and this is a new series called Game of Theories, which is a special series dedicated to fans of Game of Thrones. Now, before we begin, let me warn you that there are going to be spoilers on the show. So if you haven't watched the episode, please continue surfing porn because this one is not for you. In this series, we will be exploring whether the show was really worth the wait or was it a KLPD of ice and fire. Now, it's been nearly 2 years since the last season released, and 2 years is a long time. When the last season had released, R. Ashwin was still a part of the Indian ODI team and Hardik Pandya was an innocent newcomer. But how times have changed. Now the makers of the episode decided to make the first episode an episode of reunions. There are a lot of reunions that you see. For example, there is Tyrion who meets Sansa, and the last time that they had met, if you remember, they were married to each other. Then there's also the heart-touching reunion between Jon Snow and Arya Stark, where they meet under the tree and they hug. And if you listen carefully in the background score, you can hear wow. The meatiest parts of the episode though were reserved for Jaime Lannister, who has come to Winterfell and he has got an army of skeletons in his cupboard. So he gets to meet Bran Stark, who, if you remember in the first episode, he pushed him out of the window because he was busy celebrating Raksha Bandhan. And also remember that Jaime Lannister has killed Daenerys' father, the Mad King, so he's going to pay the price for that too. So they have set Jaime Lannister up nicely in this episode. Now jumping straight into what we liked about the episode, I personally liked that the graphics of the show have lived up. Because like I said, it's 2 years and 2 years is a long time in the world of CGI. If you see some of the earlier Marvel movies like Thor or Hulk, you'll know what I mean. Thankfully in this episode, the dragons, they look like they have come of age. They look realistic because the shape and form of the dragons have been tweaked quite a bit over the last few seasons. The other thing I liked about this episode is that it is a completely spoiler-free episode, because if you see this episode and somebody asks you, ki isme kya hua? You are like, kuch bhi nahi. Because nothing really happens in this episode. What I didn't like about the episode is that it was a little bland. Because if you see how earlier seasons started, there is always an action piece, in the first episode it starts with a bang, but this one was a little bland. And you generally watch Game of Thrones for the sex and the violence, for the action pieces and all of that. But this one just didn't seem right. It's like if you've been eating biryani for years, right? For years, every day you eat biryani, and suddenly one guy is like, hey, eat some curd rice. You're like, I appreciate the effort, Subbalakshmi, but it's bland. Now, personally, I am a huge fan of Tyrion Lannister, and I was waiting to hear him, because he always has the meatiest dialogues on the show. But in this episode, Tyrion Lannister's dialogues were very, very bland. Like his dialogues were generally like, hey, kya khaya hai, 4 idli, 3 bonda, just very generic stuff. The other thing that I didn't like about the episode was that it was a little too Bollywoodish. Like the whole bit of the romance between Jon Snow and Daenerys. It's like, come on, man, like your whole country is going through war. And hero-heroine aise chale gaye hill station ko romance karne. And there they take a snow room. I also didn't like the bits about the dragons feeling jealous when Jon Snow is making out. I mean, I understand them, like it's you make a new friend, right? And you take him home and the guy starts making out with your mother. You would be pissed off. I get that it's all cute and stuff like that, but I don't think it fits into the GOT universe so much. It would be a nice thing in a Harry Potter book perhaps, but here it just felt a little cringy. Then there was the big reveal that Jon Snow, who till now he knew nothing, but now he knows something, which is that he is the true heir to the Iron Throne, which we all knew, by the way. Everybody in the world knew except Jon Snow. And he's finally told that, dekho bhai, tum aisa raja ho, tum aisa soldier nahi ho. And I thought that was also very like soap opera-ish. Didn't it seem like that? It seemed like an episode of Kyunki Stark bhi kabhi Targaryen tha. We now move on to our next segment, in which we predict who is going to die in the next episode. In this new segment called Who is going to die in the next episode? Number 1 on my list is Sir Beric Dondarrion. Now, Sir Beric Dondarrion, I get it, man. That guy has an impressive name. He has an impressive sword also, jisme se aise fire wire aata hai. I get it. But like Lady Melisandre says, it is not how impressive your sword is, but how well you use it that matters. And every time Sir Beric Dondarrion has used his sword, I have only seen him lose. Apparently in the stories, he's already died 5 times. And I think it is time, like Bhishma Pitama, to put Sir Beric Dondarrion to sleep. Also, Sir Beric Dondarrion is a very moralistic person, and if there is anything we know about the Game of Thrones, it is that people who are high on morals are low on lifespan. Second on my list on who is going to die is Euron Greyjoy. Now, Euron Greyjoy is the official creepy guy on Game of Thrones. Because in Game of Thrones, there is always one guy who is this creepy, violent sort of a person. Initially, it was Joffrey, but Joffrey died, and then Ramsay cried, and then Ramsay died, and Euron Greyjoy kind of had to stand up and say, hey, you know what? I will be the creepy guy that the show needs. And so he's the official creepy guy on the show. And Euron Greyjoy is different from the other two creepy guys in the sense that he has a different vibe of creepy. In the sense that, like, if he approaches a Venus flytrap, it will suddenly become a sunflower. Because it will be like, he has that vibe. Also, he's been rising steadily on the show. And if there is anything else that we know about the show, people who are rising steadily die suddenly. You know who else is going to die in the next episode? Extras. Have you ever thought about the extras on Game of Thrones? I feel really bad for these guys, man, because every week they die in a new innovative way. Like they're going to fight a war and a dragon comes and burns them all. Or they're going in a ship and somebody starts shooting fire at them. And I feel really bad for the extras on Game of Thrones because it's a tough life. Because first you are an extra as a human being, right? Then the White Walkers attack you. Then you have to be extra as a White Walker also. That sucks. That was our episode of Game of Theories. We hope you liked the episode. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, please comment in the comment section about who you think is going to die in the next episode. And if you give the correct answer, you are a very shady person. You should not have friends. Please subscribe to our channel if you're a good human being, because winter is coming, but summer is going on. Thank you for watching.